Hi, I'm Melanie from Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is Adventures in Groceryland. We are on week 9 of our $50 grocery budget challenge. There are 2 of us and we are allocating $25 per person. That's where the $50 comes from. We are looking to spend no more than $50 cash. The goal is to get all kinds of groceries for current eating, also groceries towards maintaining our pantry stock, and doing it with cash, and perhaps getting a little more for our money with coupons, clearance sales, regular sales, and just smart shopping. We had a busy week this week. One of the days we actually attended an engagement party. It was very exciting, but it started at 1 o'clock and there was food all afternoon. So there was no lunch for us and we were so full, there was actually no supper for us. So that's one entire day that we weren't eating from any of our own items. Also, our neighbor made a delicious meatloaf in their smoker, and she brought us each very generous pieces over to try. They were absolutely delicious, but there's another meal that you're not going to see in the video. Take a look at what we were able to get, really focusing on building up a little bit of those pantry supplies, and let me know what you think. So far this week, I have spent $31.57, and I've shopped at 3 stores: Sobeys, Giant Tiger, and Superstore. Superstore, I got these wieners in the flash food option. They were on for $2.24. I got 2 packs, so it was $4.48. Sobeys is where I spent the bulk of my money. Milk, and milk is always an expense for me because I buy lactose free and it's quite a bit pricier. So $5.28 for the milk, $2.29 for these crackers, and $2.50 for the Townhouse. I got blueberries. They were on for $3 and 551 milliliters. I got these interesting little things. So these are cheddar jalapeno dipping packets. These were on for 25 cents a piece, and I thought this might be something interesting to take if we wanted to take some nachos in our lunch. And it was totally random. Spur of the moment purchase. I saw them there and I thought, what a great idea. That would be something fun for us to have. So I got 4. That was $1. The apple, not proud of this, $1.07 for the apple. I had a craving for Red Delicious. I didn't want to buy a bag, just one, but obviously buying 1 apple is not very cost efficient. I also bought just a little bit of ham. It's going to go on our charcuterie board, and that was $1.28. And then I didn't know that Compliments made little pizza packs. So I buy them sometimes, name brand, and this was on sale for 250 grams for $2.49. So my grand total at Sobeys was $19.12 so far this week. I got 2 pounds of grapes at Giant Tiger for $3.97. I didn't actually want 3 pounds of grapes, but most places this week did not have grapes on sale. So when it is by the pound, so say $3.99 a pound, maybe $3.49 a pound, why in the world would I buy 1 pound when I could get this little prepackaged 2 pound container at Giant Tiger for the same price? So $3.97. This is empty. There's no eggs in here. It is just there for demonstration purposes. I am getting eggs. I've ordered them. I just haven't picked them up from my friend yet. So $4 for the eggs. So total so far, $31.57. I actually had over $11 in carryover from last week. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with that. Put the money in a cup, spend it. I did kind of think that I was going to get butter last week. It was on sale, and I didn't get in there. I didn't get actual butter. I didn't get a rain check. I didn't get anything. And then fortunately, I saw it was on sale again this week at a different store. So I might be thinking just to get some butter and put it in the freezer. And I actually tried to get today when I was at Sobeys pasta sauce. They had it on for $1 and totally sold out. The shelves were empty. They had it on the front end. That was empty. I didn't get a rain check. I should have got a rain check. I don't know what I was thinking. I planned on getting it when I went through the cash and I just forgot. So those are some items that are on my agenda just to kind of increase what we have for pantry supplies. My colleague Renee gave me a bundle of parsley. My herbs are doing terrible, so this is really exciting. I have it laid out on this tray here. I'm going to put it in my dehydrator, and I'm going to dehydrate it so that I can have some dried parsley. For lunch today, we are kind of doing a fridge cleanup. We are having smoothies. I'm trying to use up some of that milk that's left over from last week before we lose it. I also put in flaxseed. I put in the entire rest of this package of raspberries that we had in the freezer. So now I can clear that whole bag right out of there. And I added spinach. So it's not something that we have often. We should probably have it more often than what we do, but smoothies for lunch. Smoothies. A few weeks ago, I made a turkey and I froze the broth in like cubes or pucks, square pucks to use for flavoring or to make future gravy or soups. So I'm going to, and I also froze some of the turkey also for a soup. I'm going to make that today. It's a really dreary and wet, rainy day. Perfect day for a soup. And I just feel like so many people would just throw this out, get rid of all of the drippings. I don't know if you ever heard that old saying, waste not, want not. Everything has a use. I don't have the bones to boil for a broth, but having this actual leftover broth will work absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put in it also carrots and celery, and I don't know if I'll put anything else in it or not. I'm looking forward to soup. Haven't had it in a while. I'm going to use 4 of the bricks. I still have 2 left, and that will work great for flavoring for anything that I want to make in the future, or perhaps even as a base for gravy. In here is the 4 pucks of the broth. I did add water. There's 5 carrots, 5 stalks of celery, and an onion. I'm probably going to have to add more veggies, but here I'm going to put in the turkey. Ooh, lots of steam. And I have to figure out if I want to put anything else in, and if I do, what am I going to put in? We have so many options from the garden. We have green beans, yellow beans, we have peas, we have some kale, we have Swiss chard. I don't know if that's something that you cook. We have a cauliflower that is left in the fridge from an old flash food box that I got, I don't know, maybe a month ago, quite a long time ago, and it is still in good shape except for a little teeny bit of browning, surface browning, in only a few spots. So I could cut that off and put it in. Not sure. Have to make some decisions. I decided to use the cauliflower. It's just a really small one. You can see it just fits in the palm of my hand. And I'll just cut off this browning all around the outside, and it'll work great. That was a pretty easy fix. After a little research, I did discover that Swiss chard can be cooked or eaten raw, so that's fantastic. I don't usually have much success with lettuces and herbs, but I definitely have enough here between these 2 different types of Swiss chard in my little container pots for my soup. So I'm going to cut some down. So this is what I was able to get for Swiss chard here in the middle, and that is pretty much everything usable out of there. Hopefully more will grow. This is the kale, and I don't know, I'm not super familiar. I got this kale, it was in a discount bin, a couple starter seeds for like 25 cents. So I got this much out of it so far, and there's still more down there. Maybe that'll grow more. and then a few green beans. And these are not string beans. I think they're called pole beans or flat beans. They're not as soft when you eat them raw as what a string bean would be, but once you cook them, they taste just the same. Going in the soup. I've started a scrap bag. A scrap bag is fantastic for making broths, and you don't need to make a broth and then use the broth to make a soup. Broth is really a very flexible ingredient. So once I do make the broth, I could freeze it in one lump. I could put it in ice cube trays and freeze them in little cubes. And broths are great to add flavor to any recipe, to rice. They're just a great flavor additive. So I'm going to do that. Plus also I have set aside the celery leaves from the celery I used in the soup. I've got dehydrating on the brain. I dehydrated some parsley, and I thought this would be great. I'll dehydrate these celery leaves and have them for ingredients for future recipes. Turkey soup for supper and a cheese string, and maybe even some of that leftover homemade bread. A quick 15 minutes in the garden this morning, and we have all kinds of bounty. We haven't processed anything so far this year. We are just eating the stuff fresh as of now, but we are starting to get to the point where we are going to need to process these beans. I've got some plans, just some frozen ones for regular eating, and I'd like to make some mustard beans and some spiced dilly beans. We're still getting yellow beans. These are an early girl tomato, first year growing them, so I was unsure of what the size would be, so they're just a small tomato. First year growing these, they are a yellow pear tomato. I thought they were going to be more like the size of a Roma, but they're a size of a grape. One little strawberry so far. The green ones here, they fell off and were on the ground, so we just rescued them, brought them in, hoping that they'll ripen inside. We have jalapenos, sweet banana peppers, hot Hungarian peppers, cucumbers, and peas. Doing great. Very simple craft dinner. Tonight we are having sausages on the barbecue with spinach salad. The tomatoes, cucumbers, and the one strawberry on the salad are from our garden. Turkey soup for lunch. Charcuterie board tonight for supper. We have ham, mortadella, salami, pepperoni, pickles, crackers. And the good thing is all of the crackers came from boxes that we had already opened. I didn't open any of the boxes that I bought this week with our groceries. There's a little bit of chocolate. There is olives. There are grape tomatoes from our garden. There is a half of a Boursin cheese, some Swiss cheese, and some Gouda. And then this is the red pepper jelly on the left and the cranberry pepper jelly on the right that I made. Exciting. A few of my little charcuterie sandwiches. Okay, so I decided a good way to use up the rest of this milk before it turns is to make some soft cheese. 4 cups of milk, microwave, tap, strain, add the seasoning, refrigerate, and then you get soft cheese. Okay, so this has been microwaved. You can see the skim on the top for 12 minutes. Oh, I think I'm tapping it. I think I'm supposed to put the acid in first. And you add 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of acid. So we have added some seasoning. Stirring, you can see it's starting to curdle already. We'll let this rest for 30 minutes and then we'll drain the whey off the top. We'll add more seasoning and then we will let it rest overnight in the fridge. All right, this has been resting now for 30 minutes. Oh, you can definitely see the whey has separated from the curds. So
let them know how it smells.
Okay, the other half wants me to let you know how it smells. It smells like dill. So we are going to strain this, hopefully. So you can see I lost tons. Ooh. I lost tons of the seasoning. I am going to put this back in here, stir some more seasoning in, and then we will strain it and put it in the fridge. All right, so I'm gonna stir some more seasoning in. And now I'm just going to pat this down. And this, well, it says a minimum of an hour, but we normally let ours sit in the fridge overnight. But I actually often use soy milk, and the curds are much, much finer on soy. So this is just regular milk, so it might not have to sit overnight. I'm always at a bit of a loss of what to do with the whey that's left over. Like, this is a substantial amount of whey. And I actually just read a really interesting bit on the internet that you can use whey as a substitution for water when you are making bread. So 100% I am going to make bread. I'm going to use this whey, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that turns out as well. Tonight for supper, we are having hamburgers and coleslaw. So we let the cheese rest overnight in the fridge. That much more liquid came out. This is how it turned out. Looks so great. It is dill and garlic. We are gonna have a little sample. A big bowl of tomatoes and cucumbers for lunch, all from my garden. For supper tonight, we are having discounted steaks that we had in the freezer, a few little shrimp from the freezer, baked potatoes with bacon bits, cheese, sour cream, and chives, and tomatoes and cucumbers from the garden. This is the bread that I made with the whey substitution instead of water. Turned out great. I'm looking forward to trying it, but we did have one problem, and that is the bread maker is kind of on the tail end of its usefulness, I think. We've had some problems with it in the past, and it actually wasn't working at all this morning. And I thought, okay, well, this is it. This is the end. And we did get it to work enough that this bread cooked, but I know that it's not going to last much longer. So we are going to have to start looking around on the yard sale sites and at Value Village to see what we can find. Toasted tomato sandwiches on homemade bread with pickles. We're getting really close to the end of this week, and I still hadn't spent the full budget. I had spent $31.57. And there were some really great deals. I was disappointed when I went into Sobeys for my first shop, and they didn't have any of the $1 pasta sauce on sale. So I went back, and they only had this flavor, roasted garlic and herb. I got 3 cans, $1 each, and I also got a box of Kraft pasta salad, $1.99. That seems pricey. I know. I have tried to replicate the sauce on that salad many, many times unsuccessfully. So it is a favorite of ours, and we like to have the real thing every once in a while, not my attempts. Foodland had butter on this week for $3.99, and because I hadn't spent my budget, I thought this was a really great item to pick up for in the freezer at $3.99. And I also shopped at Dollarama and got those little mini wheat toasts for $1.25. And prices have gone up. They used to be $1. Everything, the prices are going up. But the one really cool thing, when I went into Sobeys today, there were a few things that I had on my agenda. So I got rain checks. So they had broth on for $1, and it was a Compliments brand. I asked to get a rain check for beef broth because I typically don't have that I can save and freeze myself. And it just comes as broth. I can pick it off the shelf when it has some in stock, whatever flavor I want. And I got 2 flakes of ham. Compliments were on for $1, and they didn't have any in stock, so I got a rain check for 3. And the only flavor of the pasta sauce that they had was the roasted garlic and herb. So I asked if I could get a rain check for a different flavor, and they said yes. And I think that's fantastic because that will allow me to go back at another time and pick up 3 cans at $1. Things just haven't been going on sale like they used to. And then I just wanted to show the eggs. I showed them in my first shop and counted it within the $31.47. But I got them from my friend Renee, and those are farm fresh eggs. So my total budget this week, we came in at $49.78. And I have rain checks, so the store is holding my items. I haven't paid for them yet, and I'll be able to get them at the sale price when they come back in stock. I'm risking it again. I'm making bread. So far, so good. I don't know what we did when we were trying to fix this bread maker earlier, but it is working better than it has worked in a really long time. So hopefully whatever was wrong with it stays fixed. And I used the whey in the pizza dough as well. So very curious how that turns out. When my dough turns out good, I get the big pizza stone and the small bar pan. So this turned out pretty good. This is the dough with the whey. So far so good. Cheapest pizza sauce ever is when you can use a can of pasta sauce. There's still quite a bit left in it, but I got this week on sale for $1. So for less than $1, pizza sauce done. Just before they go in the oven, here they are. We have tomatoes, sweet banana peppers, and jalapenos from our garden. Also, half of the cold cut pack that I bought. That was an amazing buy. Really, I'm looking forward to see if they have that every single week. Also on here is the last of our mushrooms, some spinach, and onions. I topped it with cheese, and I used part of the old cheddar, our Compliments, and part of the marble that is President's Choice. These smell amazing. Woo! Pizza. Pizza for supper. And that brings another week to the end. A few things. The whey in the bread and the pizza dough didn't change the flavor at all. And the consistency was the same as when I use water. So that's a fantastic way for me to use a byproduct ingredient that I get when I make homemade cheese. I don't make it a lot, but when I do, I always struggle to find a use for that whey. So that was great. I'm really happy to discover a new use for that. We had a really great week. Lots of good meals, and the one thing that I like the most about when I have something like a soup for, I mean something like a casserole as well. But when you have a meal that serves you a lot of different servings, I pre-prepare those and put them in containers in the fridge so that when I'm going for lunch for work, I just need to grab one out. I find that when I'm prepared, that's when I make less mistakes. If I'm unprepared and I get to work and I don't have any food, I mean, there's only two options. You either go without, and I mean, that certainly has happened in the past, or that's when you are running to fast food or the grocery store to make a purchase. So I always like it when I'm prepared, and having those meals pre-done in the containers in the fridge, that just makes my life super easy. If you are from the United States and you are wondering how much you would be spending in US dollars to be the equivalent of what I am spending here in Canada for 50, it is $37. So you would need to get what I am getting for 37. Let me know where you're watching from and what you feel you would have to spend to get what I spent this week, to get the groceries that I purchased this week. I'm really curious about that. I know I have followers from the UK. I know I have people who are following from Australia. I know there are people that are following from all over Canada, and our prices are different. Just because it's Canada doesn't mean the prices are the same. I definitely have people who are following from the States. So I'm really, really curious. If you kind of take a really good look at both of the grocery shops that I did, what would you be spending to get approximately what I picked up? Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Tune in next time.